something that's foreign is something that's actually part of every one of our cells.
Cancer isn't a matter of genetics. It's shaped by what we eat. Dr. Jason Fung exposes the terrifying link between cancer and our diet, revealing how sugar creates the perfect storm for cancer to thrive. The worst thing? Some mainstream treatments might even be driving the cancer cells. But the good news is, you can take charge. So let's take a look at what Dr. Jason has to say about our diet and how we can prevent cancer in the first place. Dr. Jason Fung says cancer naturally exists in every other living being, even the primitive ones like Hydra, which is a microscopic animal. It is largely because the seed of cancer isn't foreign, but a part of every body cell. The most shocking part of this situation is even after hundreds of mutations, these cells end up surviving. Generally, cells are built like a watch, which, if you hammer, should stop functioning. Therefore, in most cases, the cells die when they are damaged. But the same can't be said about the cancer cells. In theory, cancer should be rare, or shouldn't be in the human body at all. However, in reality, cancer is everywhere. By the age of 90, almost half of men fall prey to prostate cancer and women to breast cancer. Statistically speaking, cancer should only be prevalent in 1 in 10 million people if it requires 100 mutations without eliminating the cell. However, in reality, it affects millions of people. Surprisingly, treatments like radiation and chemotherapy, which are meant to fight cancer, can actually increase the risk of developing it. Dr. Jason Fung says chemotherapy is itself carcinogenic, paving the way for cancer growth. Radiation is a very well-known carcinogen, and chemotherapy medications, which are used to treat cancer, can also cause it. Why? It is because these treatments give rise to chronic sublethal injuries, which sometimes create a safe environment for cancer cells to thrive rather than killing them.
Look at, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy. Well, you know that we use radiation and chemotherapy to cure cancer, and you know that all of those are actually carcinogens. So radiation is a carcinogen.
Yep.
Cancer medicines, the very medicines that you use to treat cancer, will cause cancer.
Absolutely.
Why is that? Why? Because it's a poison, right? It's a chronic sublethal injury.
Since the seed of cancer is already present in every living being, its growth highly depends on the environment. For years, we believed cancer is a genetic disease, but in reality, it grows and spreads when the conditions around it support its survival. For example, research says that Japanese women rarely develop breast cancer living in Japan, but when they move to San Francisco, the prevalence of cancer increases within generations.
Tobacco smoke is the biggest, 35%. So tobacco is responsible roughly for 35% of cancer overall. But number 2 was the diet at around 30%.
A research study conducted in the year 1981 showed various risk factors for cancer. Smoking was the #1 cause of cancer in 35% of cases. But the diet was almost equally contributing to cancer development, with almost 30% of cases reported to be induced by unhealthy diets. In addition to that, 1 to 2% of the cases were brought about by chemicals, pesticides, and radiation. That being the case, the role of diet in cancer development has been disregarded over the years. Then, research shifted to identifying which specific dietary factors contribute to cancer. The researchers tested fiber, dietary fat, and vitamin deficiencies, including vitamins A, B, C, D, and E, folic acid, omega-3, and selenium. None of these were found to be supporting the growth of cancer. Then, in 2003, they finally discovered the real cause of cancer, which is hyperinsulinemia, a state of excessive insulin. Hyperinsulinemia is commonly found in individuals with obesity. Following that research, experts began considering the link between insulin levels and cancer more openly.
Cancer. And the answer came somewhere around 2000. What part of the diet was the most important? And we didn't know this really until about 2003. And it turns out that it was obesity. was the biggest driver of cancer. And probably more specifically is that it was the hyperinsulinemia.
According to the World Health Organization, obesity is the leading cause of 13 types of cancer, including breast and colorectal cancers, which are the most common ones after lung cancer. Therefore, it is important for us to alter our environment and diet in order to reduce cancer risk. Hold up. Did you know inflammation is one of the biggest causes of cancer, heart disease, and aging? And most people are making it worse with what they eat. That's why I put together the Anti-Inflammation and Immunity Smoothie and Juice Guide. 80+ science-backed recipes designed to stop inflammation, boost immunity, and help your body heal. Grab your copy now from the video description below. Many medical institutes still dismiss the link between sugar and cancer as a myth. But the reality is, sugar consumption has a major role in insulin resistance, metabolism, and obesity, all of which directly contribute to cancer development. Both type 2 diabetes and obesity can trigger the risk of cancer, and cancer cells are dependent on glucose for energy and growth. Dr. Jason mentioned Dr. Lewis Cantley, a well-known cancer researcher and cell biologist, who was the first one to ever discover the connection between sugar consumption and cancer growth. His research has revealed that high sugar consumption leads to excessive insulin levels. Insulin is a metabolic hormone. However, it is also a potent growth factor for cancer, triggering the cancer cells to expand. Therefore, when insulin levels remain constantly high for too long, this growth factor induces the cancer cell proliferation, giving rise to an environment where cancer spreads and grows more effectively.
And insulin, other than being a metabolic hormone, is actually a very potent growth factor. So it tells cells to grow. And if you're going to tell cells to grow, then you're going to tip the scales in towards, increasing growth of cancer cells, for example.
There are many dietary and lifestyle changes that can minimize the risk of cancer development. Since insulin is a major growth factor for cancer, diets full of refined grains and sugars can lead to an environment where cancer thrives. So how can we prevent and counteract high insulin effects? But before we continue, this content is provided for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider with any questions about your health or a medical condition. According to Dr. Jason Fung, fasting is the #1 way to resist cancer growth. Fasting refers to a state where an individual goes without eating anything for a specific amount of hours. He recommends practicing intermittent fasting, an eating pattern involving cycles of eating and fasting. Intermittent fasting focuses on the duration and timing of eating, instead of what to eat, with the goal of using the body's stored energy more efficiently. During the fasting period, the insulin levels lower in the body, contributing to fat burning, cellular repair, and autophagy, a process that eliminates the dead cells and regenerates new ones. There are 5 different types of intermittent fasting, and you can choose one according to your body's needs. #1 type is the 16/8 method, the most popular one, which involves a fasting window of 16 hours, followed by an eating window of 8 hours. This is usually the easiest method for beginners. The second one is the 5-2 diet, in which you eat a normal diet for 5 days and consume 500 to 600 calories for 2 days. The next one is Eat Stop Eat. This one is the most advanced method, getting you to fast for 24 hours once or twice a week. Another type of intermittent fasting is alternate day fasting. In this method, you eat normally for 1 day and fast completely or consume limited calories the next day. The last method is 1 meal a day. This one is the strictest form of fasting in which you only eat once a day. The process of autophagy, which is triggered by fasting, is the most effective way to combat cancer cells growth. Autophagy means self-eating, during which the body automatically gets rid of damaged cells while regenerating new cells. This process is highly helpful when it comes to maintaining cellular health, longevity, and disease prevention. During autophagy, the body selectively breaks down old proteins, defective organelles, and cellular debris, remodeling them for energy and repair.
And what it is autophagy is this process where when you don't eat, your body starts to eat itself. That's what the word actually means. Auto meaning self, and phagine meaning eat. So you eat yourself. Sounds really bad. Sounds like you're catabolizing, you're cannibalizing yourself. But that's actually very, very good, because what it does is, in a time where you don't have a lot of access to food, so such as fasting, your body is going to break down sort of the sort of low level stuff. So the proteins that are not working too well, they're really old, they're sort of junky.
Autophagy is important to prevent the body from piling up toxic waste that might give rise to aging and other chronic diseases like cancer, neurodegenerative disorders, and metabolic conditions. In Dr. Jason Fung's language, autophagy is essential because it gets rid of body junk which otherwise can contribute to cancer development.
And basically, what you're trying to do is get rid of all the junk. So it's one of these mechanisms that's very hard to activate otherwise. And it's very important because a lot of the research was done on yeast. So this is actually a mechanism that has been conserved through evolution, basically through all sort of living things from yeast onwards. So very, very important to health if you look at it from that standpoint. So what happens, of course, is that your body, like most people think breaking down is bad, but it's generally very good as you get older.
When the body is on calorie restriction and doesn't have enough nutrients to function, it goes into survival mode, triggering autophagy and eliminating harmful waste and damaged cells. It usually peaks after 24 to 48 hours of fasting, but can also be triggered by strenuous exercise and carb-free and high-fat diets. Before we continue, if you're eager to explore more on how your diet can reduce your cancer risk and enhance your overall health, don't miss out on our Vitazen Health newsletter. Sign up using the link below and get weekly updates packed with expert tips, mouth-watering recipes, and practical advice to help you live longer and feel amazing, all delivered straight to your inbox. Many research studies have proven the positive effects of autophagy working against cancer development. A research study published in Molecular Cancer showed the effects of autophagy on tumor and cancer immunotherapies. The study concluded that by manipulating autophagy, we can improve the efficiency of immunotherapies by overpowering immune resistance. Another research study discussed in Molecular Cancer showed how autophagy's preventative effect on cancer progression can help develop cancer treatments and therapies in the future. Similarly, a study published in the Journal of Cancer also highlighted the role of autophagy in the prevention of tumors. The study discussed how autophagy can work as a tumor suppressor by maintaining the cellular homeostasis and preventing malignant transformations. Furthermore, it also reflected on the use of autophagy in therapeutic treatments that reduce tumor growth while improving the effects of cancer treatments. Autophagy's direct results were seen in a research study published in JAMA Oncology. The study found that women who had fasted for 13 or more hours every night had 36% less chance of breast cancer recurrence. The researchers concluded that longer fasting periods can boost glucose regulation, lower inflammation, and improve metabolic health. The best part about intermittent fasting is that it doesn't cost you anything. Unlike surgical treatments and pharmaceutical procedures, fasting doesn't require any expensive prescription and you can immediately start it at home. However, it is essential to understand that fasting for once wouldn't eliminate cancer cells. It requires consistency in the long term to keep the insulin levels stable. That's how diet can make or break your cancer cells. Even if you have been consuming sugar for extended periods and have high insulin levels, intermittent fasting can solve 80% of your body issues, including reducing the risk of cancer. That is it. If you liked watching this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more informational content. Have you tried intermittent fasting? If you did, how was your experience? Share your thoughts in the comments below.